Canada is building some of the most complex megaprojects in its history right now. From nation-spanning transit lines to record-setting bridges, these massive builds are reshaping how the country moves and grows. In this video, we explore Canada's biggest megaprojects under construction in 2026 and reveal what they mean for the country's future. In Calgary, the Green Line LRT remains one of Canada's largest urban transit projects under construction in 2026. This light rail extension is designed to reshape the city's transportation network, linking dense inner-city neighbourhoods with the southeast suburbs through a modern, high-capacity corridor. Phase 1, covering nearly 18 kilometres from Sheppard to Eau Claire, is now in full construction mode. Work in 2026 is focused on multiple fronts. Deep excavation and tunnelling activity is taking place in the downtown core, where cut-and-cover methods are being used for the underground segment between Beltline and Eau Claire. Shoring walls, tunnel box construction, and station box excavation are all ongoing, with a high degree of coordination required to manage utility relocations and minimize disruption to the urban grid. Further south, construction of elevated guideways and at-grade segments is moving steadily. In areas like Ogden and Linwood, crews are pouring concrete track beds, assembling steel supports, and installing preliminary rail systems. Bridge construction over existing roadways and waterways continues through 2026, with pier foundations, abutments, and deck structures in active stages of assembly. Station construction is underway across several zones. Structural framing, roofing, and platform surfaces are being installed at surface-level stations. While work on vertical access elements, like elevators and stair towers, is progressing at sites with grade changes. Utility rooms and traction power substations are also being built in parallel. Systems installation will begin in select segments late in the year, with early-stage cabling, communications infrastructure, and power equipment arriving to prepare for eventual testing. The full Phase 1 line is projected to open to passengers in 2027. At Toronto Pearson International Airport in 2026, one of Canada's most strategically important transportation megaprojects is deep into its construction phase. The airport's terminal expansion and integrated transit hub are part of a long-term plan to handle rising passenger volumes, modernize operations, and improve regional connectivity through new transit infrastructure. Terminal expansion work this year is centered on extending Terminal 1's footprint to accommodate new gates, expanded baggage handling systems, and additional passenger processing capacity. Crews are working on structural framing for the new concourse areas, mechanical and electrical rough-ins, and the installation of new vertical circulation elements. Reinforced concrete cores are rising to support multi-level expansions, with airside apron paving occurring in tandem to maintain construction sequencing aligned with aircraft operations. Simultaneously, the airport's groundside area is undergoing a major transformation. Construction of the new Regional Transit and Passenger Centre, located between Terminals 1 and 3, is progressing with foundation work, utility trenching, and below-grade structure assembly. This hub is being built to serve future connections to multiple rail services, including the planned Eglinton Crosstown West Extension, Joe Transit, and potential high-frequency rail corridors. Mechanical and systems integration for transit platforms, passenger drop-off zones, and pedestrian tunnels is underway in 2026. The project also includes significant road reconfiguration with realignment of lanes, improved traffic circulation designs, and updated signage being installed throughout the year. The full program is being delivered in phases, with critical capacity improvements expected to be operational before 2030. By the end of 2026, the terminal addition is projected to be weather-tight, allowing interior systems work to accelerate. The transit hub's substructure and core transit platforms are also expected to be completed, positioning the project for systems testing and elevated guideway construction in 2027. In downtown Toronto, vertical construction on Canada's future tallest residential tower is actively progressing in 2026. The Sky Tower, part of the larger Pinnacle 1 Yonge development, is now rising prominently on the city's skyline. Once completed, it will stand over 1,050 feet tall and include more than 95 floors of residential, retail, and amenity space. Work on the tower's core and superstructure is the primary focus this year. High-rise concrete pours are taking place on a tight vertical cycle, with crews completing one floor every few days. The central elevator and stair cores are advancing ahead of the slab work to maintain structural sequencing. As of 2026, the building is well past the halfway point in height, with cladding and curtain wall installation underway on the lower levels. Mechanical, electrical, and plumbing systems are being embedded as construction climbs. This includes vertical risers, floor-by-floor distribution systems, and HVAC components designed to serve the tower's dense vertical layout. Window installation is also active, allowing interior fit-outs to begin in completed sections of the podium and lower tower floors. The podium itself, which includes a mix of commercial and residential amenities, is already enclosed. Retail space build-outs and public realm improvements are progressing, with exterior paving, lighting, and access features being finished in tandem with tower construction. Construction logistics are tightly managed, given the site's location near the waterfront and Gardiner Expressway. Material hoists, tower cranes, and perimeter protection systems are operating continuously to maintain construction flow and protect adjacent infrastructure. Along the lower mainland of British Columbia, a major infrastructure replacement is advancing beneath the Fraser River in 2026. The Fraser River Tunnel project is a new immersed tube tunnel that will replace the aging George Massey Tunnel, providing a modern crossing between Richmond and Delta. It's one of the largest transportation megaprojects under construction in Canada this year. Construction is progressing on multiple fronts. In 2026, major site preparation is ongoing on both riverbanks. Excavation and foundation work for the tunnel's entrance and exit portals are underway, with slurry walls and deep excavation systems being installed to create dry working conditions. Dewatering, shoring, and early concrete pours for cut-and-cover sections are active on both sides of the river. In parallel, fabrication of the tunnel segments has begun off-site. These concrete segments will be floated and sunk into a trench dredged along the riverbed. As of this year, production is focused on casting the first few tunnel elements, each weighing thousands of tons and built to millimeter tolerances. Marine works are also in progress, including the dredging of the tunnel alignment and construction of temporary docks and transport systems for moving the segments into place. The new tunnel will include 3 lanes in each direction, as well as a dedicated multi-use path for pedestrians and cyclists, an improvement over the existing tunnel's limited capacity. In 2026, crews are also coordinating utility relocation and road tie-in works for Highway 99, which will connect directly to the new tunnel once it opens. In Kitimat, British Columbia, the second phase of the LNG Canada project is under active construction in 2026, following the near completion of Phase 1, which includes 2 liquefaction trains and marine terminal infrastructure. Phase 2 is focused on doubling the facility's output capacity by adding 2 additional trains and expanding supporting systems across the site. Work this year includes major earthworks and site grading to prepare for new process modules and cryogenic infrastructure. Foundation pouring for Train 3 and Train 4 is underway, with structural steel erection scheduled to begin before the end of 2026. These new trains will mirror the configuration of the original pair, using the same air-cooled liquefaction technology optimized for Kitimat's cooler coastal climate. Piping systems, pipe racks, and large-scale storage tanks are also in early stages of installation. Parallel construction of control buildings, electrical substations, and flare systems is ongoing to align with the expanded process footprint. Modules fabricated overseas are expected to begin arriving in late 2026 for final assembly and integration on-site in 2027. Marine expansion is another focus. The existing deep water berth, already operational under Phase 1, is being supplemented with additional loading arms, boil-off gas recovery systems, and dock upgrades to accommodate increased vessel traffic. Dredging work and shoreline protection measures are active throughout the year. Utility and export infrastructure, including tie-ins to pipelines, water systems, and grid connections, is being scaled in tandem. This includes expanded connections to the Coastal GasLink pipeline and new facilities for nitrogen production and instrument air, both essential for safe LNG operations. In 2026, structural construction is advancing rapidly on the new Peter Gilgan Mississauga Hospital, one of the largest healthcare infrastructure projects underway in Canada. This replacement facility for the existing Mississauga Hospital is being built on the same site and will provide a complete transformation of healthcare delivery for the region once completed. The project includes a new, state-of-the-art acute care hospital with over 950 beds, modern operating rooms, advanced diagnostic imaging suites, and expanded emergency care facilities. This year, vertical construction of the main hospital tower is at full height, with crews focusing on exterior cladding, roofing systems, and mechanical penthouse installation. Curtain wall systems are being installed on the upper floors, while lower levels are progressing through rough-ins for electrical, HVAC, and medical gas infrastructure. Interior work is accelerating across multiple levels. Patient room framing, plumbing, and fireproofing are underway. In critical care zones and surgical suites, structural support for specialized equipment like ceiling-mounted booms and radiology shielding is being installed in coordination with long-lead equipment delivery schedules. The hospital's podium levels, which will house diagnostic labs, food services, outpatient clinics, and support services, are also being built out in 2026. These floors require extensive integration of vertical transportation systems, data infrastructure, and infection control systems, all of which are being embedded during this phase. Site-wide utility upgrades are progressing in parallel. These include redundant power systems, water treatment facilities, and centralized medical gas storage. Landscaping, access roads, and drop-off zones are scheduled for grading and paving by the end of 2026, allowing for phased access to operational support spaces. Across Toronto, 2026 marks a critical year of construction for the Ontario Line, a 15.6-kilometre rapid transit project that will become one of the city's most transformative infrastructure additions. Designed to relieve pressure on the existing Line 1 subway and dramatically expand network reach, the Ontario Line will connect Exhibition Place in the west to the Ontario Science Centre in the northeast, with 15 new stations planned. Construction in 2026 is focused across several key zones. Deep excavation and tunneling work is active in the downtown core, where twin-bore tunnel machines are operating beneath dense urban infrastructure. Launch shafts are already in use at key sites, and several tunnel boring machines are advancing under Queen Street and other constrained corridors. At the same time, cut and cover sections near the Don River and Riverside are undergoing shoring, excavation, and early structure work. In the elevated segments of the line, particularly in the East Harbour and Thorncliffe Park areas, pier construction and guideway assembly are moving forward. Precast concrete segments are being lifted into place for elevated track sections, with utilities relocated and rail alignment substructures under active build-out. Station construction is happening concurrently. Foundations, entrance box excavations, and early structural cores are under construction at multiple sites, including Osgood, Queen Spadina, and Corktown. Mechanical and electrical rooms are also being framed and waterproofed in stations where underground structure is advanced enough to support interior work. In 2026, modernization work at Montreal Trudeau International Airport continues to move forward as part of a multi-year capital program aimed at expanding capacity, improving terminal functionality, and integrating new transportation infrastructure. The airport is undergoing phased upgrades to support long-term passenger growth and to accommodate new connections from the rehab light rail system. This year, construction is focused on terminal expansion and landside redevelopment. The terminal is being extended westward to include new international gates and expanded passenger amenities. Steel framing, concrete deck placement, and utility rough-ins are actively progressing in the expansion zone. The added gates will provide increased aircraft parking capacity for wide-body operations, with apron paving and jet bridge foundations being completed in parallel. Interior systems installation is also underway. Electrical and HVAC equipment are being distributed through the new concourse levels, while work on fire suppression, vertical circulation cores, and ceiling structures is ongoing. In completed sections, early stage fit-out of lounges, customs processing zones, and baggage handling systems has begun. A major component in 2026 is the integration of the new REM station. Track installation and platform construction for the light rail line are progressing under the terminal area, with vertical access cores and pedestrian connections being finalized. This direct transit link to downtown Montreal is a central part of the airport's future connectivity strategy, and all interface work is being carefully sequenced to maintain airport operations during construction. Road realignment and parking garage upgrades are also in active phases. Traffic circulation is being reconfigured to separate public drop-offs from commercial and transit traffic. Structural retrofits in the existing garage are underway to add EV charging capacity and to improve vertical access. In the core of downtown Toronto, construction on the Concord Sky Tower continues through 2026 as one of Canada's tallest residential developments takes shape. Rising along the Yonge Street corridor, the tower is set to reach 95 stories, with a final architectural height of over 1,000 feet. Once completed, it will rank among the tallest residential buildings in the country. As of this year, the reinforced concrete core has passed the midway point, and the structural frame is rising at a steady pace. Floor plates are being poured on a regular cycle, with high-rise formwork systems and climbing platforms operating continuously to support vertical progress. The main tower crane remains in place, supporting both structural and mechanical lifts across the construction zone. Below grade, the podium and underground levels are structurally complete. Interior work is now underway on the parking and mechanical spaces, including electrical vaults, emergency power systems, and water supply infrastructure. These foundational systems are critical to support the full building load and long-term operations. On the lower tower levels, cladding installation is active. Curtain wall systems and window panels are being installed floor by floor, sealing the structure and enabling interior fit-out work to begin. Framing, drywall, and mechanical distribution systems are progressing in tandem within completed floors, including HVAC ductwork, plumbing stacks, and fire protection piping. The tower is designed with a mix of residential units, amenity floors, and street-level retail. By the end of 2026, the structure is expected to be near full height, with topping out projected for early 2027. Occupancy is planned in phase stages, beginning later that year and extending into 2028 as interior finishes and inspections are completed. Across the Greater Toronto and Hamilton area, in 2026, the Geo Expansion Program's On-Corridor Works component is one of the most extensive rail infrastructure efforts underway in Canada. Designed to transform the Geo Transit network from a commuter-focused service into a two-way, all-day regional rail system, this mega project involves complex upgrades to tracks, signalling, electrification, and station infrastructure. This year, track expansion is occurring across multiple corridors. Double and triple tracking efforts are in progress on the Lakeshore East, Barrie, and Kitchener lines. Crews are grading new track beds, installing ballast, and laying continuous welded rail to increase capacity and allow for more frequent service in both directions. Bridge widening and culvert upgrades are also being completed to accommodate the expanded right-of-way. Electrification work is a central focus in 2026. Foundations and steel poles for overhead catenary systems are being installed along key corridors, particularly between Union Station and Bramalia, and from Union to Unionville. Substations, switching facilities, and protective barriers are under construction to support the transition from diesel to electric train operations. Electrical infrastructure is being integrated with existing systems, requiring night and weekend track closures to minimize service disruption. Signal system modernization is taking place throughout the network. This includes installation of new signal houses, cabling, and positive train control infrastructure to improve safety, capacity, and operational flexibility. Station platforms are also being extended or rebuilt to accommodate longer trains, with accessibility features, lighting upgrades, and passenger information systems added in parallel. In the waters off Delta, British Columbia, construction is underway in 2026 on the Roberts Bank Terminal 2 project, one of Canada's largest marine infrastructure builds. Designed to add significant container handling capacity to the Port of Vancouver, the new terminal will function as a standalone offshore facility adjacent to the existing Delta Port terminal. The project involves building a 3-berth marine terminal on newly created land supported by caissons, fill material, and ground improvement systems. In 2026, marine dredging and land reclamation are the dominant areas of work. Hopper dredges and support vessels are deepening the access channel and preparing the seabed for caisson placement. At the same time, granular fill is being delivered and compacted to form the future working surface of the terminal platform. Caisson fabrication has begun off-site, with the first units scheduled for float-in and installation later in the year. These large concrete structures form the structural edge of the terminal and serve as both breakwater and foundation for the wharf superstructure. Pile driving and scour protection are also active at the terminal perimeter. Back on shore, construction of the terminal's electrical substation and automated gate complex is underway. Underground conduit runs, control building foundations, and utility tie-ins are progressing to support future operations. Crane rail foundations and maintenance facilities are being prepared for the delivery of ship-to-shore cranes and yard equipment beginning in 2027. Environmental monitoring remains active throughout the site, with turbidity curtains, sediment controls, and habitat protection zones maintained during all marine works. Along Toronto's central waterfront, work continues in 2026 on the FG Gardiner Expressway Strategic Rehabilitation Plan, a long-term infrastructure program aimed at restoring the elevated highway while keeping it operational. This project is essential to maintaining a critical transportation artery used by over 120,000 vehicles daily, while extending the life of aging infrastructure that dates back to the mid-20th century. The plan is being executed in phases to minimize disruption. In 2026, active construction is focused on the section between Jarvis Street and Cherry Street. This portion includes full deck replacement, concrete barrier upgrades, and the rehabilitation of supporting steel and concrete elements. Work is taking place both above and below the elevated structure, with crews removing deteriorated components, installing new precast deck panels, and applying corrosion protection systems to the substructure. Traffic staging is tightly managed. Temporary lane realignments and weekend closures are being used to maintain partial access while construction progresses. Structural jacking systems have been deployed to support the elevated sections during component replacement, allowing key columns and bearings to be replaced without full closures. Drainage systems are being upgraded as part of the rehabilitation. This includes new scuppers, downspouts, and waterproofing membranes to prevent long-term water damage. Lighting and traffic signal infrastructure mounted along the expressway is also being modernized in this phase. As of 2026, design and planning are underway for future phases further west, including the segment between Dufferin Street and Strachan Avenue. Environmental assessments and structural condition evaluations are being completed to guide scope and scheduling. In British Columbia's Lower Mainland, the North Shore Wastewater Treatment Plant program continues as a critical infrastructure project under construction in 2026. Located in the district of North Vancouver, this new facility is being built to replace the aging Lions Gate wastewater treatment plant and is designed to meet advanced secondary treatment standards in compliance with federal regulations. The new treatment plant is engineered to process up to 100 million litres of wastewater per day using high-efficiency biological and membrane filtration systems. In 2026, major civil and structural construction is active across the site. Reinforced concrete work for the primary treatment tanks, biological reactors, and secondary clarifiers is in progress, along with installation of deep foundation piles and internal tank liners. Mechanical equipment is being delivered and staged throughout the year. Large-scale pumps, blowers, and chemical dosing systems are being installed in the plant's process buildings, while work begins on integrating instrumentation, automation, and control systems that will allow the facility to operate with high energy efficiency and minimal operator intervention. The site also includes a biosolids handling facility and odor control infrastructure. In 2026, construction of the digesters and thermal drying systems is underway, supported by new energy recovery units and air filtration components. Piping, HVAC, and utility corridors are being coordinated throughout the facility to align with the plant's tight spatial footprint and floodplain protection measures. Off-site, a new conveyance system is under construction to transport wastewater from the North Shore communities to the plant. Microtunneling and trench excavation work continues this year along key segments of the conveyance pipe alignment. In the Montreal region, the rehabilitation of the Louis-Hippolyte Lafontaine Tunnel is one of the most complex infrastructure projects underway in 2026. As a vital link between the island of Montreal and the South Shore, the tunnel carries hundreds of thousands of vehicles each week beneath the St. Lawrence River. Originally opened in 1967, the tunnel is now undergoing a major upgrade to extend its service life and meet modern safety and operational standards. Construction this year is centered on full-scale rehabilitation of both tunnel tubes. Crews are replacing the tunnel's road deck, wall panels, and waterproofing membranes. This involves complete demolition of the existing road slab down to the structural base, followed by reinstallation of new precast panels and high-performance concrete overlays. Work is staged to maintain limited traffic flow through alternating closures, with a single lane open in one direction at all times. Mechanical and electrical systems are also being modernized in 2026. New ventilation systems, fire suppression equipment, lighting arrays, and digital control systems are being installed throughout the length of the tunnel. Emergency exits, smoke extraction infrastructure, and vehicle detection systems are all being upgraded to meet current safety codes. Above ground, approach roads and interchanges are being reconfigured. Work is progressing on new lane alignments, drainage systems, and signage, especially around the entrance zones in both Montreal and Longueuil. Structural repairs to retaining walls and portal buildings are being completed in tandem with tunnel work. Across Ottawa, Stage 2 of the light rail transit system remains under active construction in 2026. This major transit expansion includes 3 extensions, west, east, and south, adding a total of 44 kilometers of track and 24 new stations to the city's rail network. When complete, it will triple the length of the existing LRT system and bring service to new areas across the National Capital Region. In the east, track installation is progressing between Blair Station and Trim Road. Overhead catenary system poles are being set, and platform construction at stations such as Jeanne d'Arc and Place d'Orléans is well advanced. Interior work is underway on electrical rooms, vertical circulation systems, and faregate infrastructure. Final concrete pours for guideways are scheduled to wrap up this year. The southern extension of the Trillium Line from Greensboro to Riverside South is in a later stage of development. In 2026, vehicle testing is active along completed segments. Signaling systems, communications equipment, and operator training are underway. At the new airport spur, construction continues on the airport terminal interface and tunnel connection beneath the existing parking structure. The west extension, which includes a tunnel segment under Byron Linear Park, remains the most complex part of the project. Tunnel excavation was completed in earlier phases, and now station fit-out, ventilation installation, and trackbed preparation are ongoing. Elevated structures through the Connaught and Moody areas are also seeing active work, with deck placement and track supports being installed across multiple spans.